If you're in a bad situation, going through a hard time, or you feel like things just are not getting better in your life, just stop what you're doing and watch this video.
Do you ever wish you could get that one friend out of that toxic relationship? Like if they could just see what you see?
A lot of people feel like they're in a quote-unquote toxic relationship because there's lots of miscommunication with the other person. Lots of problems can be solved if you communicate clearly.
The first rule in negotiations is to learn what the other party wants and leverage that to get what you want. And yes, relationships are negotiations.
One way to leave a toxic relationship is to figure out what you're getting from that person.
They do such a good job of manipulating you that you don't even know what's happening, even if other people around you might.
Please remember that you attract people and circumstances to reveal where you have not healed, and you will repeat problems until you learn the lessons that they are there to teach you.
Being uncomfortable can look like going into a studio apartment, not having all of your luxury and comfortabilities that you're used to having.
You have got to remove yourself from the atmosphere that is making you sick.
I just asked, what's my best advice for getting over a toxic relationship? Is to remember it was toxic.
You keep going back and forth, and what ends up happening is like a drug dependency. So if you're coming out of a toxic relationship, I really advise you go through the withdrawals.
Stuck in a toxic relationship? You're not alone, and it's time to break free. This video is your push to choose peace, strength, and self-worth over pain. If you're ready to heal and grow, hit that subscribe button and join a community that's here to lift you up.
The biggest mindset shift that helped me get out of a toxic and abusive relationship was really quite simple. Getting out was not simple, but the realization, the thing that made the big shift, was pretty simple. I had to accept that he would never change. And I had to decide that the way he was treating me and the way our life was no longer acceptable for me. Leaving was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my entire life. But I'd do it over and over again because it was the best decision I ever made. My life is 1,000 times better now without him in it.
Scary leaving a toxic and narcissistic relationship. So let me give you 3 steps you can start with right now to leave and to stay gone. 1, be willing to be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable can look like going into a studio apartment, not having all of your luxury and comfortabilities that you're used to having, right? Completely making a drastic decision to leave the area that you're in, to have a peace of mind. Be willing to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be shaky in the beginning, but it's worth it. Secondly, seek support. You don't have to do this alone. Even people who love you will try to support you, but maybe they can't for different reasons. So seek support. You don't have to do it alone. And thirdly, have a relationship with God. Some of you may know him, some of you may not, but take my advice. Use 10 minutes to go into prayer, 10 minutes to meditate, and 10 minutes to read the word. Dedicate your time to God so he can start talking to you and you can start hearing him clearly.
Here's how to heal from a toxic relationship, part 1. If you guys are new here, my name is Scott. I'm a certified healing coach with over 400,000 followers on TikTok, and I help people just like you every single day to heal and move forward. So once you realize that you're actually in a toxic relationship, and you know, step number 1 is the most important step that I can give you, and I promise you, if you will stick to it, you will be able to break free. And that is no contact. You have got to remove yourself from the atmosphere that is making you sick. Yes, I said sick, because being in toxic and abusive relationships can cause you to have physical health issues. So when you go no contact, it's not to punish these other people. It's so that you actually get some mental clarity. You ever been in a situation where you just can't figure out the answer, but if you'll just stop and back off of it for a little while and look at it, you'll be like, there it is. It's the same thing. Because as you are stuck in these trauma bonds, in these toxic relationships, all you can see is that pedestal that you've put these people on. And you've put them there because you've created a false identity as to who they are and to what you guys have. So again, step number 1, go no contact. If you've got children with these people, you got to go low contact. That means the very bare minimum of contact. You got to treat it like a business arrangement. You need to treat these conversations with these people just like you're walking into a room that has a bad disease in it or something. You hold your breath, you walk in, and then you walk back out as soon as possible, and then you breathe again. If you guys are stuck, I can coach you through it. There's a link in my bio. You can also pick up my best-selling book on Amazon called Go to War. Make sure you like and follow for part 2.
I just asked, what's my best advice for getting over a toxic relationship? Is to remember it was toxic. Too often we get out of these relationships and we allow time to cloud our judgment, and we just remember the good times, but we don't remember the times that person made us feel small, unheard. They hurt us. Our brain will forget the trauma and hold on to the good times. What I'm asking you to do is remember all the times, not just the times y'all went and got ice cream. Remember the time he made you feel empty inside. Remember the times you were crying in that relationship, begging for this man to understand you. You have to remember everything, not just the that you chose to hold on to, the good memories. No, everything. Most of us do not consider everything. Most of us keep making excuses for most of us will be the ones that will talk ourselves out of doing what we know we need to do, which is staying away. Y'all don't even be missing the man. You miss the idea of the man. You miss being in a relationship. You don't miss being in a relationship with him.
Do you ever wish you could get that one friend out of that toxic relationship? Like if they could just see what you see? That was me. I was also friends with people like that. You really don't see it because you're so blinded by the fact that like I can change them, like I can fix this, like it's gonna get better after this, but it's not. And then once you get out of it, it's all you see. All you see is those people in the toxic relationships, and all you say is, oh my god, it's so obvious, it's right there. But they don't see it, just like you didn't see it if you were in a toxic relationship. And if you are in a toxic relationship, you probably don't see it, or you're ignoring it. At some point you do see it, and then you just have to ignore it. Or just pray that it gets better. But let me tell you, it never gets better. No matter how many times they say, I'll change, they never do. And sometimes I think you kind of have to just let the person find out for themselves. For some reason, when I was in mine, my family kept their mouths shut, which was surprising as hell, because my family is not like that. But they kept their mouth shut. They didn't say a damn word until I said, I'm leaving. And they said, dear God. Some didn't even say that. They were like, okay, that's your decision. But honestly, there's nobody that can convince you to get out of that. Coming from somebody who was in that. Some guidance sometimes when they're already kind of convinced on it could work. But it's just so frustrating to see, because it's like for me now that like I've been there, I'm like, it's so obvious. Please, just leave. Like they're not that special. But you don't see that. Not in the relationship, you don't. So sometimes I think you kind of just gotta figure it out.
3 rules I'll teach my future daughter to help her leave a toxic relationship. Rule number 1, create your own closure. The first rule in negotiations is to learn what the other party wants and leverage that to get what you want. And yes, relationships are negotiations. Your ex knows that you want closure. You know that they want you. By treating closure like a hostage, your ex thinks they can lure you back in. You will not get your own closure until you decide that they have nothing that you want. Rule 2 is to break up with their friends and family too. A really beautiful thing happens when you choose yourself. The block button doesn't feel so scary. You see, people pleasers are still afraid to block their ex's circle. They're still concerned about how it will make them look. A healing baddie understands that nobody's opinion of her matters more than her opinion of herself. Things get peacefully quiet after you go on a little blocking spree. Rule number 3, there will literally be no perfect time to end it. There will always be another birthday, holiday, or milestone that you'll want to celebrate with them. But breaking up is like getting on an escalator. There is no perfect step, just the ones you've already missed and the one that will take you where you're trying to go. You just need to commit to taking that step. I want my baby to know that in the garden of self-love, relationships are either seeds or weeds, nothing in between. And if you reap what you sow, then go sow something worth reaping.
How to heal and move on from a bad, toxic relationship. Please watch this one to the end. Enjoy. Please remember that you attract people and circumstances to reveal where you have not healed. And you will repeat problems until you learn the lessons that they are there to teach you. So, I encourage you, heal through whatever pain or resentment or negative energy you have towards someone. Because until you do, you're going to keep attracting that back into your life and probably your next relationship. So how do you heal? Great question. There's no ultimate way to heal. There's many ways to heal. There's no ultimate martial art. Only the ultimate martial artist who knows every martial art and knows when to pull from the right one at the right time to get the right result. There's no ultimate way to heal. You want to find a healer, a coach, a therapist, someone that you feel safe with, someone who's gotten proven results, someone who does their own healing work and do the inner work. And ideally, the person you're working with actually empowers you with the tools so you can continue to heal long-term and you don't need them anymore. The short answer, do the work. Find someone to help you heal. You need to be ready and willing to do the work. Find the right person, do your healing, or you will keep attracting the same thing that hurt you into your next relationship. If you're looking for someone to do healing work with and you like my vibe and my energy, just comment the word heal down below. I'll send you a DM and we'll see if we're the right fit for each other. And if you got value from this, give it a share.
So how do you leave a toxic relationship with a narcissist? And of course, if you're there, I'm a narcissist. I actually have narcissistic personality disorder. One way to leave a toxic relationship is to figure out what you're getting from that person. Figure out what you are getting from that narcissistic, toxic person in your life. Ask yourself, what am I getting from this person? What is this person providing me? What need is this person meeting? And the answer to that question cannot be nothing. You can't say, oh, I'm not getting anything from this person, because that's a lie. You're lying to yourself. You have to start telling yourself the truth. What are you getting from this person? Because if you were getting nothing from this person, you wouldn't be with them. It would be easy to leave because you're getting nothing from them, right? What unmet need is this person fulfilling in your life? Are they fulfilling some type of childhood wound or something along those lines? You have to figure it out. And the best way to figure it out is to start digging deeper, y'all. You have to start digging deeper into your mind and asking yourself, why do I keep going back? Why do I miss this person? Why do I love this person? Why do I allow this person to treat me this specific type of way when I've never allowed anybody else in my life to treat me this way? Why this one person? Kind of like digging for treasure, y'all. Like you digging in your mind. You keep digging and digging and digging by asking yourself the question, why? You keep digging, throwing dirt over your shoulder, digging, throwing dirt over your shoulder, digging, throwing dirt on your shoulder. And then sooner or later, you take that shovel and you doom, doom, doom. You hit something. You hit like, it's like a chest that you hit. You open it up, you find whatever need that this person is fulfilling from you, and you understand that you yourself can fulfill that need. You don't need them to validate you. You absolutely can validate yourself, because self-love, self-validation is some of the most powerful thing, is one of the most powerful things in the world, y'all. And it can actually help you break free from the bonds of toxicity. Keep digging deeper and find out whatever that person is providing you and cut it off, and understand that you yourself can provide it. You can provide that need yourself. Because if you're not happy and fulfilled internally, nobody else can make you happy, y'all. Nobody else can truly make you happy. And you'll keep finding yourself back into toxic relationships with this same person or a different person with the same type of personality characteristics. Anyways, y'all, like and subscribe for more. Peace.
I was in the depths of my abusive relationship. There was nothing that anybody could have said that was going to make me instantly leave that person. They do such a good job of manipulating you that you don't even know what's happening, even if other people around you might. But if you're worried that somebody you love is in an abusive relationship, there are a couple of things you can do or ask them to gently help them think critically without pushing them away. When someone you care about is in an abusive or a toxic relationship, it's heartbreaking to watch, but the hard truth is that no amount of advice or warnings is going to make them leave until they're ready. So instead of telling them what to do, I think asking them thoughtful, non-judgmental questions that help them reflect on the situation might be the most powerful way to go about it. I remember what really got me to snap out of what I was going through was I thought about my sister being in the same exact position, and would I be okay with her being in that exact same relationship that I'm in right now? And I thought, okay, if my answer to that is no, why am I allowing myself to go through that abuse? Why am I not taking the advice that I would give somebody else? So all that to say, question number one would be asking that loved one, would you be okay with me being in the exact same relationship that you're in right now? It's not accusatory, it's not telling them what to do, it's planting a seed, and it helps them kind of step outside of their emotions and look at the relationship more objectively. Other sub-questions you can ask are like, do you feel supported and respected in the relationship? Do you feel like you can truly be yourself around them? How do they respond when you set a boundary or you say no? It's all about asking questions that are non-confrontational but encourage self-reflection. And they're more likely to make someone think critically about their situation without feeling attacked or defensive, because if you put them in a situation where they feel like that, you might lose your relationship with them. And it's It's something that we need to tread lightly on because we don't want to judge them or make them feel like we're victim blaming because it's not their fault. All that to say, it's really hard, but we have to be patient with them because leaving an abusive relationship is a process. You need to plan, and they need to feel safe, not judged. And unfortunately, our role isn't to save them, it's to support them when they are ready to take that step.
If you're in a bad situation, going through a hard time, or you feel like things just are not getting better in your life, just stop what you're doing and watch this video. Just a couple of years ago, I was going through the worst time in my entire life. And I've been through a lot of hard times in my life. Like, I've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of heartbreak, just a lot of really bad things all around. I even lost my brother, my best friend, when he was 15 and I was 13. That was really hard to go through too, and I always thought that that was gonna be the hardest time in my life, but I was wrong. A couple years ago was by far the worst thing I have ever been through in my life. Now looking back at the things that I was so distraught about that I thought I would never ever make it through, I thank God every day that those things are not in my life anymore, that those people are not in my life anymore. When I tell you I didn't think I was gonna make it through, I genuinely did not think that I was going to be able to do it. I had a newborn, an 11-month-old, and a 9-year-old, and I had gotten out of the worst relationship I've ever been in. And even though I had to leave it, I genuinely never thought that I was going to get over it. I really didn't think that I was strong enough to raise these kids by myself. I never wanted to love again, ever. But I knew that my kids did not deserve to be in the situation that they were in, and I thank God every day that I got away from it. Because if I wouldn't have gotten out of that situation, my life would still be hell. I never wanted to have a broken family. I never wanted my kids to grow up in a split household, which they won't, because since the day I left, he never asked to see them and has never put any effort towards being in their lives. But I'm telling you right now, leaving a bad situation is so much better for your kids than staying. I understand that change is hard. Trust me, I get it. I know it's so hard. It's uncomfortable. The anxiety and depression and horrible feelings like in my chest and in my stomach that I felt every single day, I never thought they were gonna go away. But I'm telling you right now, pain is temporary and it does not last forever. I mean, it took me a year before I even started to feel okay again. Like, I couldn't even look in the direction of another person. I get a lot of comments from people who are in a bad situation right now, and if you're one of those people, I just want you to know that it does not last forever. I seriously thought my life was over. Like, I did not think that I was ever gonna make it through the shit I went through. And now I'm sitting here 2 years later, the happiest I've ever been. My kids are happy. My life is stable. I have peace in my life. And I know I would not have that if I didn't get away from what I was in. So if you're struggling right now, I just want you to know that some doors have to close so that better ones can open for you. Even if you don't want those doors to close, sometimes you have to just let them, because you might be preventing the best thing from coming into your life by holding on to something else. I love you, and you're gonna be okay. I promise.
How to get over a toxic ex, all right, or a toxic relationship. We've all been there. We've all been with or been in a relationship with somebody, and we know and we knew it was toxic. We knew we should have been out of that relationship, right? But for some reason, now you're out of that relationship, but you just can't seem to let go. Here are things that you need to do. Number one, remember that it was actually toxic. Okay, I know sometimes, you may be, especially after going through a breakup, you may miss that person. You may go through withdrawals, right? But you got to remember that, listen, if that person was really meant for you, the relationship wouldn't have been as toxic. It would have been a lot more healthier. You would have been a lot more happy. Okay, it would have been more natural. All right, the relationship would have actually worked. But it was toxic. You got to remember that. Number two, don't gaslight yourself. Don't overanalyze and say that you were the problem. Maybe you partly were the problem, okay? However, you have to understand that your feelings do matter. And you got to remember those feelings, because those feelings are going to remind you that, nope, you can't go back over there because that's where you were hurt. Do not take that person back. And number three, take the time to be alone and be single and learn and grow through your traumas that you've been through, so you know what you actually deserve in your future relationship.
If you're currently in a bad relationship right now, or you feel like you're being mistreated, or maybe you deserve someone better, please listen to this. A lot of people feel like they're in a quote-unquote toxic relationship because there's lots of miscommunication with the other person. Lots of problems can be solved if you communicate clearly. And a lot of times, if we're honest, we don't communicate clearly. A lot of times we're toxic, or we attack them, or when we're talking to our partner, we are more aggressive than we would like to be. And you know, that's not okay, but it's important to understand when your tone and your tonality affects the person. And sometimes our tone will be off, and that'll make your partner respond to you bad. And then that's when problems start, because it's usually you who starts the problem. Now, I'm not saying it's you, and I'm not saying it's always you. Everyone has different situations, but it's important to recognize the relationship you have with yourself and how that's impacted by your partner. So let's say you have a relationship and you feel like your partner is drawing you away from that goal. If your partner is drawing you away from that goal, then maybe have a talk with them and say, hey, I feel like I'm passionate about this, and I feel like when I'm with you, I'm not able to work towards this. And it's important to be able to recognize this, because the goals and passions we have is how we respect ourselves in the work. Because the way we gain self-respect is when we do things we like and we actually do well on them. When we have a passion about something and we actually perform in that passion, we feel good and we feel proud about ourselves. For example, I love business, and when I started doing well in my business, I started making lots of sales, started getting more views. That's when I started feeling good, because I felt like my self-worth had increased because I was performing in something I cared about. And many of you may see that as unhealthy, but I see that as healthy, because if I'm improving in something that I care about and it's making me feel good, that's a good thing. But if your partner is taking you away from that, you have to be able to recognize it. So try to have a talk with your partner if you are feeling like they're maybe pulling you away, or you feel like you've lost respect for yourself. A lot of times when we don't feel respected, it's actually not our partner's fault that we don't feel respected, but it's our own fault that we're not giving ourselves enough respect, or we're not doing enough to gain our own respect. Because humans are very conscious people, conscious beings. We know things that we don't even say aloud or even think about. You know, we know when someone's sad without even thinking. We know when we are sad. We know when we lose respect for ourselves without even thinking. So if you recognize this, try to reflect upon it and have a conversation. If you don't have a partner and you just feel like you lost respect for yourself, you work on things that you actually